Good morning, Keith Tebow from FRCMedia. Thank you for joining us today. It is Thursday, time for our weekly visit with the mayor of the city of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor, how are you today?
Doing okay on this gloomy day, Keith.
It is. Well, I guess we need the rain, but it is still kind of gloomy as we head toward the end of October. I want to get into a couple of issues today. First, is COVID? The numbers in the city continue to go up, unfortunately. Are there any other added concerns that you're hearing from your local health officials, or is it still pretty much status quo? We're getting the same type of infections that we've had with people just, gathering socially. That's been the difference.
I met with them yesterday afternoon and I asked them that specific question. I said, are we seeing any clusters or spots that we can identify as problem areas? And it's really, I liken it to a tide coming in a bay. It's just a general rise of numbers. I looked at Springfield's numbers the other day. They're going through very similar things. Obviously, Rhode Island's following the same pattern. It's just a large rise in numbers over a wide spread of our city. I mean, it's cases in the Flint, cases in the North End. They can't attribute it to any one thing at this time. It's just a pretty good increase.
So let me ask you now, Mayor, as a follow-up in terms of the schools. I know that the governor has said that we're not seeing a large spike in numbers in schools. Is that the same in Fall River? And I guess my follow-up question to COVID in general is, when will decisions be made in terms of potentially needing to scale back a little bit on the step 2, phase 3 reopening in Fall River?
I don't know. We're not there yet. The schools, I believe we have 2 students and maybe 6 or 7 staff. That's out of 10,000 children. The hybrid model seems to be giving us a break in between sessions where they literally have 9 days off or 9 off days in between. So we're not at that point yet. I know people are concerned about their children in the schools, but we've given them that option to withdraw their students and have them on full remote as a large number have done. So let's not just get jumping too much. Let's see what happens and keep our eye on the statistics and see where we go.
All right, I want to shift now to other city business. This week, the city council, you had presented the name of David Marciello as a city administrator. When it came to voting for the council on Thursday, that name was withdrawn from consideration. Can you give us some background on what happened and why Mr. Marciello did not move forward?
Yeah, obviously it was his decision. He went through 3 panels of city councilors. We break them up into groups of 3. They all had a number of questions for the candidate, mostly related to other communities he worked in. There were few questions on his credentials because he did have excellent credentials. He was a lawyer, a veteran. He had a master's degree in public administration, but a lot of that didn't come up. They looked at things like why he left another town or what were the conditions he left this town under. And it kind of was, in some cases, a strong back and forth. We brought him forward after we did a complete background check on him. We hired an agency to run all of the tests, credit, anything financial, anything in his background, criminal, civil, nothing. There was nothing there. We checked all of his references he gave us, and one of them was a former city administrator in Fall River, and he came back solid. I guess from what I understand, the council had a different opinion. As the night came closer, I called up David and I explained to him that we did not have the votes. I did not think it was going to pass. And he said, well, I don't know if I want to put myself through this. So he sent in a withdrawal letter.
So when the city did its due diligence, as you mentioned, in terms of his background, I know you can't mention any specifics, but was the situation where he was previously in Millbury and was that investigated and it was to your satisfaction that it wasn't really an issue?
Right. We definitely did that. We talked to former people that worked with David in Millbury. We talked to people that worked with him in his other communities, and we tried to get a good read on the gentleman. throughout this interview, Keith, just so you know, we hit that a couple of times where if the Board of Selectmen changes and the city administrator was not their guy or their woman, it seemed like things got contentious very quickly. That reared its head a few times. If there's a board of three and two of them flip, then they want their person in there. So again, it was not uncommon. It's happened all across the Commonwealth, but the city council was trying to do their due diligence to find out exactly what happened, and that's kind of the track we took on the questioning.
All right, so what's next now? Back to the drawing board in terms of filling the position?
Yeah, I was going to talk to you today about it, Keith, so you can come in about 10 o'clock. No, we're going to keep looking, and we have one or two people we interviewed before that we might be interested in talking to again, and we'll see what we can do. We're trying to do what's best for the city of Fall River. That's, you have to understand, this person does work under me, but as all the people that work in our office do, they work for the citizens of Fall River. They don't work for me. They might get direction from me, but they're doing whatever's best for the city. They're not. That's what we're looking for. Someone that has ideas how to help the city of Fall River, not help Paul Coogan. I'll be fine. It's just what's going to help the city of Fall River. We'll put Fall River first, and we'll go from there. That's the way the chips are going to fall. If the council in their wisdom thinks that we can get a better candidate, then we'll keep looking. As you know, we way back in January, people say, well, you've been looking a year. That's not quite true. There was a tremendous gap in there when we closed down City Hall and due to COVID. So we weren't really being active at that time. We were just trying to make sure people had what they needed to get by. So now that we're moving again, we'll try to find a candidate that we think the council will look at favorably.
All right, moving on. Next Tuesday is Election Day. I know there's been a lot of positive activity happening in terms of early voting down at the atrium of Government Center. What are you hearing in terms of that participation thus far? And it seems like, from what we understand, everything's been going smoothly.
Yeah, I actually went down and voted myself early. I usually like to go to the polls. I'll be out Election Day going to the polls to check on the people that work for the city and make sure everything's going smoothly. I think a significant number of people have already voted between the mail-in and the early voting. So maybe we're going to have a big turnout Tuesday. We sure would love to see that and see where the chips fall.
All right. One final note. Halloween, of course, is this weekend. We've talked about, the recommendations for Halloween, but I'm actually interested in the event tomorrow night, the drive-in movie at Durfee High School. I know the weather is supposed to be a little dicey in the morning, but may clear in the afternoon. Are things still scheduled to move as scheduled?
Yeah, we have to make the call sometime during the day tomorrow. It does look to me like all the rain and whatever the white stuff is that comes down is going to clear out by 4 o'clock. So we'll be fine on our timeline. The last factor we have to account for is the wind. As long as it's not too windy, we'll let people know as early as we can if it's going to go forward. At this point, it's still going forward. We just can't do it if it's like over 18 miles an hour winds. They don't want those screens blowing all over the place. So we'll make the best decision tomorrow. And if not, we'll reschedule and hopefully we'll get the same kind of crowd.
Yeah. All right. Mayor Paul Coogan, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
No, anytime, Keith. Thank you.
All right. And thank you for joining us today here in FRC Media. Have a great day.